it started.
In the spring, and that split, yeah. Wow. They're weeding them out, man.
Yeah, everybody's dropping quick.
Get them on the desk. Get that knowledge and empower the rest of the players. Let's get into the game. Figured the 80 carries would get a little bit of love in this game. That Twitch does go out to the wayside immediately. Wild Turtle won't be picking that up.
Yeah, even though last week Wild Turtle on Twitch was walking by a few too many pink wards and get himself hooked, they still respect the pick. That champion right now just has so much carry potential for the late game. And with CLG liking to move around so much between objectives, Twitch is the perfect champion to pick people off in between those movements.
See how the bans go. There's been quite a diversity played between the 80 carries. We got some Sivir, Vayne.
Well, with the Yasuo ban early from CLG, that opens up some questions in my mind. Do they want to run a Nidalee? Are they looking to run a TF? Something like that, where they don't want to have to go up against a mid lane assassin like Yasuo? Very interesting early ban there against Bjergsen.
Morgana being taken out, so it looks like Glebe gets hit pretty hard in this one. We haven't really seen Glebe get off any other supports. Zyra's still in there for him, and we still have one last ban to go for TSM. We'll see what this will be. It will be a Jax. That means Shyvana and Renekton are left up for this top lane, but the first pick is double lifts for Lucian.
Highest priority does go to the second 80 carry that is up there in the Twitch tier list for CLG. So pretty easy early pick for them. However, it does kind of leave Seraph out to dry. He has had probably the best showings on Shyvana. And when he's had to be forced onto Aurelia, it hasn't been quite as strong for CLG. So we'll see now if he has expanded his champion pool enough to incorporate this. TSM actually letting top lane picks go past the first round as well, though, in favor of getting not only LeBlanc, but also Lulu here. So that's really a flexible pick because it could be in the top lane or it could be support, and it opens them up for more carries on this team than just LeBlanc.
This is actually something that CLG likes to do as well. Aphromoo played the Lulu the other week. They'll take out that mid laner, kind of take it away. So with those grabs, TSM definitely hits a core amount of champions and the bans that CLG likes to use.
I really do like taking Lulu pretty early, just because she can go into so many positions. And as you said, Aphromoo really liked Lulu as a support as well. So not only are you taking it away from Link, but also possible CLG support being taken away there.
His last game of the week versus Cloud9, Link did bring out the Orianna. Looks like he'll try to do that once again. We've been seeing some Corki and Sivir. Kog'Maw as well from the Yellow Pete man himself. This would be very interesting with Amazing going on his wheelhouse champion, Lee Sin.
Yeah, Kog'Maw has definitely been on the rise recently. It's not just Twitch and Lucian at the top anymore. What's really interesting about the Kog'Maw nowadays are there's so many different builds people are using. I mean, some people are still even rushing Infinity Edge into Phantom Dancer, but even more popular now are the early Blade of the Ruined Kings or early Trinity Force. So there's so many options to go with that Kog'Maw now. And since they've set up a pretty good protect Kog'Maw situation here already with Lulu and Lee Sin able to kick people back, I do like the pickup here. They still have potential for snatching people off in the mid game with LeBlanc. They don't need that Twitch.
Very interesting.
The joke's on us. It is going to be a top lane Lulu, probably.
Yeah, Leona.
Dyrus has not played very much LeBlanc, and it takes Dyrus a long time to learn champions. So I'd say if I was a betting man, Dyrus is going to take over the Lulu, because LeBlanc takes a little while to practice those combos.
I'm going to distort twice right into the fight and then be left out to dry. So Glebe actually leaves himself last to pick AD carry for Wild Turtle. Already seeing that on the board. It's nothing they have to rush anyways for Lucian. Double Lift and Aphromoo, however, kind of winding out the composition for CLG. Still have Shyvana on the board. It would be an easy pick, but
yeah, could be an easy last pick here, though. It would be going up against Lulu. Not sure how many ranged champions Seraph has actually practiced against. Shyvana, it's not that bad, though. She would probably be jungling early. And since CLG have two solo laners now, with the Leona being locked in, or TSM have two solo laners now that are very poor junglers. CLG will probably be looking for some sort of lane swap here to get make that Lulu or the LeBlanc try and farm jungle camps because they were very inefficient at it.
So we have Sarah's pickup of Renekton. Dyrus knows this matchup very, very well. And we also have the pickup of Alphamu on Alistar. We got to remember the ball delivery system coming from Link there. That's something that CLG used heavily at the end of the split.
Yeah, this is a very, very solid composition from Counterlogic Gaming. It's not complicated at all. They have a very simple comp here. Definitely oriented on that team fight, trying to use the Shockwave combo with Alphamu. Meanwhile, TSM, they really have to watch out for this early game. Like I said, with picking 2 mana-using champions for their solo lanes, don't know how they will manipulate the early laning phase here. Maybe they will spend more money on vision and try and get some favorable matchups. I mean, top laners in this meta have really been sort of reduced to scavengers for the beginning of the game. They're just kind of...
Who can do it the best?
Hey, here, go ahead and jungle without a jungle item for a while.
Don't teleport wrong, or top lane wrong time.
Yeah.
You'll die.
And they just basically just follow you around. They're like your friend just begging for scraps. Can I get the small wolf, please? Just one small wolf.
Somebody will figure it out. One of these days, somebody's just going to blow our minds and do something completely different. We got to remember back when Gambit started doing it with the Janna Roam and the Shyvana in the jungle, and we were like, wait a minute, supports in the jungle? What is this? Now the top laners have to do it.
One of my favorite things about the new meta, so many roamers now. We get 3 people roaming around in the early game. You can have 4 people mid sometimes at 2-3 minutes.
They ram it up. Before we jump into the game, we want to see how you've been voting over at LOLesports.com, where TSM leads with 65% of the vote. It's not too bad off.
Yeah, and you can also continue to share your predictions by tweeting either hashtag CLGWin or TSMWin to @LOL Esports. We will be updating our polls throughout the entire game to check in and see how people's opinions are changing.
So it's interesting when Cloud9 played Team SoloMid first, they kind of banned out Amazing. They said, here, you can not have any junglers. And then it's kind of an all-around focus coming in from CLG. They feel like hitting every point of the team while getting double at first pick Lucian is their best bet coming in here.
Yeah, Amazing definitely was practicing a few more champions as well after last week. So he's probably up to speed on more than 4 now, as the weakness has been exposed. But as Crumb said, there are plenty more junglers outside these top 4 that everyone keeps talking about and everyone keeps choosing that are very much viable options.
What are we looking at in that kind of situation?
Well, if you're looking at Europe, then you saw Yorick, but that hasn't had too much success. But all the old junglers that people used to use are still viable. I mean, there's still the Xin Zhao, there's still the Pantheon, there's still Vi. They're just not as good early anymore. And people are much more favoring things like Lee Sin and Elise because these 2 guys, these 2 junglers here are going to look to have a very early impact. Dexter and Amazing, with very early game junglers, they should be able to really dictate the pace of this early game.
Is there any fact of the swapping that kind of affects any of these junglers positively? A jungler with more mobility, the fact that things are swapped up, position on the map is stronger in one area. Does Elise favor that? Yeah,
that's why we're seeing these early game junglers because they have more freedom now that people are not shoving down early turrets. They don't have to show in lane anymore. So if you're a jungler who can win a duel versus the majority of other jungling champions, then it's a good pick right now because a lot of the time you're only level 3. You're running into people. You're trying to duel. There are a lot more early skirmishes here away from turrets.
Right.
Now that people are moving around so much.
And that's something that's going to play into the factor as we were talking about for Dexter. Having that big picture already ready if you know what you're getting yourself into. Meeting Amazing in the jungle, like you said, Amazing's going to be playing reactively if he hasn't already anticipated that. And we saw Dexter when they were at the Battle of the Atlantic, he was a little shyer. A lot of bush time, didn't really come out for ganks. But then when he got here in the LCS, he was pretty much starting all of those ganks. A lot of first bloods for Counterlogic Gaming. So Amazing will definitely have to be on his toes in the jungle.
Yeah, and he has been, focusing a lot on the bottom lane as well. We'll see if he lends any extra support to Seraph. Seraph, though, we talked about the limited champion pool. Renekton's very easy to pick up. I feel confident that he can perform on Renekton. And he is taking teleport. It's not the Ignite Renekton because CLG, like I said, probably not looking for the standard lane matchups here. Probably looking to switch things around and get some free lanes.
Well, free lanes for CLG would definitely be good. We know Doublelift loves to be in that atmosphere, farming his face off. The crowd is ready. A little bit of the running man as well as they get themselves onto the rift. Looks like we got some relics in the bottom lane. Start off pretty organized and even across the board. Dexter gets himself a vision ward in there.
Yeah, so extra vision for CLG actually, because they're the ones that really want to manipulate this early game. We'll see if it does pay off here. Aframu also starting with that Targons is interesting. A lot of the times he'll spend even more money just on consumables and vision. But this time around, he's going to be beefy in that bottom lane. Alistar and Lucian is nothing to sneeze at. They have a lot of kill potential, and it's a great pick against Leona. Because whenever Leona comes in, he can not only interrupt her combo, but he could also headbutt her into the turret if they engage too closely. Just pulverize, knock her right into danger. So it's just this very strong pick against Leona specifically, and it's one of Aframu's specialties.
I like it as well because, you know, Glebe and Wild Turtle still kind of getting adjusted together. Glebe has quite a bit of responsibilities coming in for Team SoloMid, so anything you can do to kind of hinder that combination, you're going to get the one up. You can see that vote. Yeah,
and that's a good point because Wild Turtle is on a champion that is not forgiving if you have poor positioning. Kog'Maw very similar to Twitch in that regard. So we'll have to see how he can position on Kog'Maw. It's pretty easy for Kog'Maw though, especially since no mana for his W active. Taking advantage of that long range should be Wild Turtle's goal.
That was a fantastic change. Always love some Kog'Maw play. Just bring back the green elixir now and you're good. 2 minutes coming up on the clock as both teams look to give each other a little bit of space here in the beginning of the game. Regular starts off, no steals on the buffs. And it looks like we are going to get the matchup in the bottom lane. We'll see if Doublelift and Aframu decide to go hard here.
All right, so we are going to get 2v2s down bottom. This is a really interesting 2v2. I really like the interaction between both these supports as I was talking about. But really, it's going to be what can Seraph do up in this top lane? Dyrus with one of the newer picks for himself, trying out the Lulu. We'll see if he can actually deal with Renekton. Because Renekton does have kill pressure on Lulu, even though she can harass him early. Like I said, Dexter likes to make moves pretty early. Might want to get an early lead for that Crocodile.
Already got some pings going down on the backside, so they have the awareness of where Amazing is. If they want to go aggressive in the bottom lane, that's perfectly fine. Dexter's going to get a smite on his blue and be quite ahead of Amazing here in the run, so they can decide to do something off this if they want to. And that's really Dexter kind of had the big picture already, right? He's moving along, and he's ready to start things for Chronologic Gaming.
Yeah, look at this. Amazing clearing out a lot of his blue side jungle. Took the white as well.
Yeah.
A lot of Lee Sin skipped that camp, but he's going for a much, much later red here by clearing out his full blue side. He should have seen...
He should, yeah, should have seen the ward flash. He's going to let him get it quite down. Dexter with the smite down. Going in very hard, red buff. It does go actually over to Dexter, so he's got the damage on it. He could be taken... Wow. Amazing going down very well there, I meant to say, but... Great damage onto Dexter. Kind of a little too much of a weight there.
Yeah, so it's a really good plan by Dexter. Here's what he's thinking. I've got a Renekton top lane. Yeah. He's going to shove it early. That's great. My mid lane as well. Orianna can shove LeBlanc very easily. So I've got two solo lanes that can back me up. It's a good call to go for that invade. The problem was really in the execution there. He missed the cocoon. He got revealed by the W. After he placed his ward, there's vision, so he didn't have to be that close. Could have backed off and expected that there would be a Tempest Cripple combo from Amazing, but he was too close. So he got revealed, it forced his hand, he rushed in there, didn't get the smite steal or the early damage onto Amazing. And if you go to at Lee Sin early game like this without landing that cocoon, then you're just going to get destroyed. So they actually end up only trading flashes because CLG have control of the lanes, and it was great collapse. Didn't go too poorly for CLG. Good plan, bad execution.
Seraph still a bit of a level up on Dyrus. With Dyrus staying in the jungle, he is just leveling up now to meet where Seraph is. So if he can keep that in lane, the level 6 will be great when when Seraph hits it. Trying to formulate something in the jungle. Doesn't work, but you can see already CLG under 5 minutes trying to get something going. Seraph getting a little punished down in the top lane is Amazing. Wants to get something started here for TSM's side. Coming in for Bjergsen, misses the ethereal chain. Looks like he'll be safe. A little extra damage.
Whoa, whoa. Crowd really wants him to take that Lee Sin Q, I guess.
It's like a cafeteria fight.
But yeah, he dodged the skill that mattered. The chain is what was crucial there, so good job by Link. Actually going back to purchase his early Chalice now, too. Need that early magic resist versus LeBlanc, because all that she has over Orianna is the kill pressure. Now that he's got his magic resist and mana, he can control the wave much easier and reduce a lot of that Bjergsen threat.
Link quickly getting a sweeper on this back, actually. So we'll see if they try to get Dexter to come back mid. Right now, looks like he's going to do some lane work.
Bottom
going for Seraph.
Lane gank bottom from Amazing. Just walked right in there with Lee Sin. Now, it's a champion that's very strong at lane ganking. However, the wave was shoved up so close to the turret. The point here is just to shove it into the turret.
Aframu standing pretty aggressive on this one. Like you're saying, he's looking to headbutt somebody into the turret. He will not give you any extra steps there.
And he also uses his Targon Execute to make sure they don't lose any minions under the turret. So even though TSM shoved this up to the turret with Amazing's help, they get nothing out of it. Actually, it's frozen in the perfect spot for CLG. So not able to accomplish anything with that trip down bottom from Amazing. And Dexter might make him pay for it. Because he showed down bottom, he knows there's no chance of a counter gank.
There it is.
And as I said before, Renekton does have the kill pressure on Lulu.
Well, she just hit level 6. Dyrus and Seraph hitting that. Well, just about 2 minions apart. And Dexter's level 4 here.
Dyrus does have his ulti, so at least he does have his ulti to rely on. But Seraph is trying to charge up his Fury Bar right now.
They have a perfect way to tank this. If they can get in, Dexter takes it first, repels out, and then it's going to be... Oh, actually, Seraph's going to have to take this quite hard with the Dominus on. Gets shrunken out. Dyrus could have shield coming up soon. Gets the slow on. Dexter getting an auto attack. He's going to go down. And so is Seraph. The double kill for Dyrus. It's not even over. Amazing. Sneakily getting himself out towards Dragon, but who would have thought?
So we talked about communication. I think that might have been a little bit of miscommunication. So let's watch. Dexter backs off now after the ult and shield have gone down. Seraph goes deep in though. At that point, Dexter has to try and finish this. But with Elise's reduced damage, he's not able to get the kill until he goes down anyway. And since Seraph went back in, not being sure that Dexter would be able to finish the kill, he thought that Seraph actually wasn't going to go down there. So he gets back into turret range and ends up going down as well. A double kill for Dyrus. Extremely good for TSM here. Because Renekton really needs to be able to use that early lead. Once Lulu starts getting more beefy, he loses his kill pressure. It's much harder for him as the game goes on. And Dyrus being able to purchase some extra wards here too should be feeling a lot more confident in this top lane.
It almost looked like Dexter thought he got aggro because he stuttered back. And then, no.
I think he was just saying, okay, we got the ult and shield, it's too dangerous, and he didn't want to go for it. Not sure, though. Might have been in those things, those heat of the moment, do we go for the dive, do we stop? Those are the things that really, really count in the early game here that CLG might be missing because of the language barrier. They have said, though, that Seraph's English is strong. So they haven't had problems communicating with him.
Well, we got to think now, those 2 incidences are adding up. Dexter went into the jungle. That was a failed attempt. Pulled Seraph out of lane, and now they got killed in the top lane. So TSM now trying to work a little bit of the snowball they've been given. And CLG looking to stave it off here. They've done quite a good job, but again, Seraph has to be pulled back out of lane. Might lose a few CS to the turret, too.
Yeah, and because Link is collapsing like this, you know, Bjergsen's doing a great job controlling the CS in this mid lane. Got a pretty good early lead here. And since he has blue buff, and the blue buff was effectively denied from Link, Bjergsen's going to have a pretty big upper hand here, especially with that 2-level lead. Link should probably get a level off this wave, though. Yeah, there he goes.
Walking around. He's not going to do anything. He wanted Wraiths, but he's not going to take it. He doesn't know where everything else is. Now waiting in the fog of war for a bit of action towards Link, as we're looking to see what the bottom lane is doing, and it looks like it's Doublelift and Aframu on the roam now.
There are pretty good wards here from TSM, though. They have pink wards on both sides, so they'll see this roam up top. Yellow pinks do go down. The pink ward actually was not found by CLG, so it's still there for TSM. Everybody's walking by that bush. Dyrus really gets control of the top lane because there's a roam down from Seraph. Dyrus doesn't have his teleport, though, so he's going to be late to this party.
just gritting his teeth. Gets amazing, and Bjergsen out of the situation. Damage there. If CLG can keep getting pokes like that, they're better off.
Because of that delay, though, Dyrus came down. This could be 5-on-5.
He did have that speed. He whimsied himself into position. A nice void ooze. That's going to be a full 5 hit on the slow for the Solar Flare. Coming in with the damage. Link very hurt. Afromu on the outside throws down the ultimate, reducing the damage, but is it enough? A 1v1, and Dexter takes out Amazing on the left side of your screen. Bjergsen's going to finalize that kill on the cow. It looks like they back off with 2 for 1.
Yeah. Glebe a little bit overreaching right there, chasing into that Alistar and Orianna combo. Pretty dangerous. It's only a 1 for 2 though, not terrible for TSM, not amazing for CLG. But yeah, that's the Leona Alistar interaction we were looking for. Amazing tried to follow it up pretty well and does kick over double lift, but the damage from TSM, not in position to follow it up.
Seraph coming into that fight, if he still had dominance, it seems like he could have gone back in, but he walked into the fight with it on, so they're not really organizing these.
Yeah, he has built early damage too, so with the Tiamat, not a lot of potential for him to tank up for this team. His teleport is available though, and it looks like CLG just going to give this one up because of the ward coverage here from TSM. Possible steal, but very unlikely.
Cannot pass. Dragon going over to Team SoloMid. We got an even game in gold and kills right now. 11.5 minutes in. Dyrus and Seraph back toe-to-toe in the top lane. Looks like Bjergsen's going to back. He's got about 600 gold lead right now. That's coming off his kills. The assists with 10 CS in his favor. But Bjergsen and Link have kept each other from roaming, and those are two of the two pivotal members of the team to get things going if the jungle cannot.
A lot of wards up here for Seraph in the top lane. He wants to go aggressive. He's built all this damage. He has a Tiamat for shoving. Wants to keep Dyrus sequestered up in the top lane so that he can't join the fights. Lulu's biggest strengths are buffing up the rest of the carries on a team. Being able to get other people to carry harder. She's not one to necessarily carry by herself. So if you can keep her away from the rest of the team, really reduce the effectiveness of that pick. Afromu setting up this lane gank. That should cause TSM to play more cautiously though, because they've just seen this pink ward go down. They got to know there's a reason for that pink ward going down. See if they actually call down Amazing though, because right now he's headed mid. They're just giving up this bottom turret.
It's going to be in. Doublelift gets a nice ward, so he needs the 1v1. He'll be happy to. Well, like you said, with not a lot, but a little bit of damage coming in, the item's not really being finished for CLG. You see 2 Athene's Unholy Grails, the Blade of the Rune King now finished, the Lizard Eldered as well. TSM is ready to get themselves into fights. They're in the position to make the moves they want. And with Dyrus, we said earlier, not going to have the greatest time on Lulu. Those 2 early kills, definitely giving him a thumbs up there.
Yeah, and CLG, not only were they able to take the turret, but they also got enough damage out of it to get the wave pushing back at them. So Doublelift is able to keep that wave in friendly territory for longer now. So he doesn't have to overextend, and he can further increase this lead over Turtle. Doublelift is really going to be massive. Now that the numbers have turned against his creep wave, deciding to hard shove it so that he can then roam. Once he shoves out that wave, he can actually go make an effect either mid lane or with the rest of his team here. It looks like people setting up for the next spawn of buffs.
Gotta be careful. They got some good wards for him, but a quick sidestep of Wild Turtle and Glebe towards the river would take him out. He's 141 to 100 in CS right now. Really having a big effect, Doublelift and Afromu's combination against Wild Turtle and Glebe and a Cog Leona combination.
Turtle is definitely looking more for late game, but he needs to stay competitive in that CS score because Lucian is not a poor scaling AD. As we said, Doublelift is already on the road to outperforming him in these mid-game team fights. Early Blade of the Ruin King, though, very popular build for Kog'Maw. Does help him out a lot with champions like Renekton who are going to try and dive to him. Then he can slow them down and kite them back. This is not a tanky Renekton, so he can actually kill him pretty easily if he's able to get distance.
Great picks play there. Glitterlance after to follow up some damage, and he's just trying to bait in the play for Dexter. A little bit of time wasted up here, but he's sitting on half a red buff left. Doesn't look like he's going to get anything that he wants. Seraph really shouldn't go in right now.
Yeah, I think this extra harass under the turret is actually going to cause Seraph not to go out into lane. And actually, yeah, ends up drawing.
Or at least he can pat himself on the back now.
Dexter's still waiting around for this counter, though.
Uh-oh.
Now they know that they're outnumbered. This is extremely dangerous. Bjergsen coming in with blue buff.
Only 1 second on that distortion again. It's up, and he uses... Oh, the minion with the body block! Sign that guy up on the team. Bjergsen's going to be backing up off of this one. It looks like CLG's may turn this one around. Not
they have to go through the turret. Flash is blown as well.
Not in range for the shockwave, but in range to definitely make TSM think twice.
Now that was just a pure mistake that was easily avoidable by Bjergsen. You can just watch your own creep wave. They mirror each other. So if your creep wave is at the middle of the lane, then so will CLG's. He should have known that the creep wave would be right there. Yeah. And even though he's going in for that blind chain, he's going to have to work around that timing. So that was an easily avoidable situation. It didn't cause anyone their death.
Nope.
However, they do go down a summoner spell for it.
That hunger for kills, also known as greed. See what CLG can do is they, Aphromoo is going to back 1 minute on the Dragon, so he will get himself prepped and prepared for that. 50 CS leads though for Doublelift. Being an 80 carry, always say the #1 rule, if you're not farming, then you're not being an 80 carry, and that's where Doublelift is going, down to the bottom lane. Top lane, Dyrus should be able to get some more damage on the turret if he wants. His teleport's up, so he can decide to just go wherever he wants and back to the top to farm this one out, because he's got a good lead on Seraph after the kills and the CS.
Hey, you're talking about farming here. Like, Doublelift's been farming hard for a long time. He should have a substantial pool of gold. He could probably buy a full item when he does go back. He's been farming for an extremely long time. Just gets boots and a Sheen. Okay, more burst here. So this is actually a really good mid-game pickup. Sheen is extremely efficient towards this mid-game here, especially when there's going to be so many skirmishes.
And nobody has armor yet.
That 17-minute mark.
Oh.
Good repel to buy time.
Yeah. He actually got a stack from Chain and the Zenith Blade, so he didn't have to worry too much about the card control.
Dragon 1 second away. Teleports for both laners are up, but Seraph walks down once again, wanting to save his cooldown. And CLG, they actually have positioning on mid. They don't have to go down to Dragon. Because TSM weren't sure which objective they were going for, TSM stood in the middle ground, no man's land, and they end up losing the turret and positioning on Dragon. CLG can also clear out the vision here. Let's see if Dyrus can actually answer top lane, though. TSM really need to be able to answer this move from CLG with that top lane turret.
The battle was for mid, but the war is for the Dragon. CLG has part 1. They got part 2. The fight to start here. The culling off to the right side. Doublelift, the sun is in his eyes. Cleave goes hard onto Doublelift. He is on the backside. Can only throw out the skill shots and not put any more damage down. And CLG has to reassess this fight.
That Alistar front line is so strong with his ulti, taking up a lot for his team. Both support tanks here. Barely getting out.
They still want this.
They've got positioning. So that was a mid for top turret trade. Dragon goes down, but it does give up middle turret positioning for TSM. They try and answer, but CLG do not actually give up. They do not go through with those recalls. Turtle's in the back.
Wow. CLG has been trying to make plays all game. Can't flaunt them for it. Some of them are coming through, but we're all tied up here. They do get that Dragon, which gives them a bit of a gold lead, and Doublelift CS obviously sticking on that cash. But 19 minutes in, and with 2 turrets down, CLG can start to add a little bit more map pressure, hopefully. When you got Dyrus pushing lanes, everybody else able to pretty much clear out a wave quite easily.
So yeah, TSM, they want to play to their strengths now. They do have Dyrus who got an upper hand. He's got the 2 kills, he's got the CS lead, he's got an easily large rod. He can harass this Renekton, who hasn't been able to complete defensive items yet, just now getting his Negatron cloak. So we'll see what Dyrus can actually do with this, because the other parts of this TSM lineup here are not doing as hot. That Turtle, he needs a lot more time to scale up here with the Kog'Maw, trying to catch up to Doublelift. Maybe they can pull something off here with Bjergsen. They need to get vision back, though, for that to happen. Bjergsen with that LeBlanc. Not going Deathfire Grasp means that it'll be harder for him to pull off one of those assassinations, but he can still do it if he catches the right person, you know, maybe low on health.
It's going to be quite tough. A lot of protection for all of CLG. If they can, like you said, get that magic resistance up, they're facing most of the damage and mitigating it right away.
Yeah, the problem with going double AP with a LeBlanc as one of your APs is that people, when seeing LeBlanc, their immediate reaction is already, hey, I need to get a Banshee's Veil pretty early. So if you're running double AP, it just makes that choice even easier for them to go with. And it's a great item for anyone on CLG towards the late game. Banshee's Veil going to help out a lot. So TSM really need to... Uh-oh.
Whoa! Looks like Dexter's getting some nom-noms in the top lane. Seraph's going to want to help out here. Deja vu! Oh no, the turret! Dyrus is running! Time number 2, misses the cocoon. Whimsy coming up. The Glitter Lance goes over to Seraph, and he plays this one out in the fancy feet. Time number 2.
So they don't get him again. However, it's just going to be a trade for turrets. CLG getting top turret right now. Meanwhile, TSM going to get that bottom one. The real story is what's going to happen mid, because side lanes are trading pretty evenly here, but Doublelift has such a commanding lead. With that Sheen, he can do a lot of damage very quickly to turrets.
Really great purchase, putting the Phage on there as well to keep himself a little safer. Aphromoo throws it on. The back line is not warded right now in CLG. Like I said, trying to continuously make plays throughout the game. A lot of defense being provided here from Glebe and the rest of the team.
Collapsed on by Bjergsen here.
Very close. He also has amazing right on his heels. Bjergsen looks like he's been living with a blue buff on as it actually drains off of him. As I say that, good dissonance damage from Link. He's actually leveled that all the way 4. Q is at 5 since he spent that up. We're going to see what they can do. Slowly pushing towards the mid lane, but they're not getting any of Turtle's poke down. They're not getting Glitter Lances there. They really can't engage much.
CLG really looking for the perfect shockwave. Initiation burst onto Afro.
The one that heals.
Not going to be that effective.
Yeah. Oh!
There it is!
The ball delivery system! There it is! They get it there by 10 a.m. guaranteed. And it looks like it's going to be Dyrus running for the hills. Doublelift gets himself in range. The Phage speed, the W passive speed, all the speed necessary for the double kill.
And that is going to be a middle inhibitor turret already going down for CLG. Bjergsen wants to make them pay for it though.
Trying to get a little bit off the edge there, chip off a block for himself, but nothing is coming off on that. CLG is a rock right now, and they're turning this rivalry into a base destruction versus Team SoloMid. They pick up a 5,000 gold lead, 3 kills on the run there, and 3 turrets for themselves in the lead.
A whole inhibitor off of that single initiation. Everybody knew what was coming. Everybody saw the blast split.
But you're inside their head.
Still that impressive, even if you know it's coming. Aphromoo and Link once again pulling off the combo, and Doublelift is able to chase them down, even though red buff does wear off.
Matter of seconds. Everybody on TSM thought, oh, Voidoos, we're safe. That was the end that CLG needed.
Yeah, beautiful combo from CLG. What we were expecting from this composition, and they pulled it off beautifully. Great execution. TSM going to have to worry more about spreading out. I mean, they can't really afford for another 3-man Moo Link combo. So they're definitely going to have to spread out and work more with the counter engage. They don't really have the best opportunity when having Leona go all in, as we just saw, because not only is Aphromoo able to use Alistar's kit for engage, but also disengage and counter engage.
You just crack all that CC.
It's really more about TSM trying to use the Lee Sin kick to buy some time for them and then regroup. They have to spread out for the beginning of the fight and use Leona more for a secondary engage, a reinitiate.
And another thing that helps is that they got so far with that battle. Doing that twice isn't always the easiest thing. Like you said, TSM's going to be looking for that. You're not going to get another perfect ball delivery. So we'll see how CLG can work their way back in to get it again.
To be fair, TSM should have been looking for that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because CLG have done this before, and CLG were still able to pull it off. Also, once Aphromoo gets some more mobility, that's going to be even more scary.
Oh, dear. You can just see, they don't even want to attack him. Turtle knows just on his heels is going to be even more death from the Mad Cow. So they back off. Turtle safe. A lot of summoners up on both sides as well. So we'll really get an all-out fight from both teams if they decide to go head-to-head. No holding back. 240 to 199, almost hitting 200 CS there. Double Lift staying on that mark for CS per minute almost. 2-0 and 3. So that first pick, Lucian, really working out for him.
Yeah, it's turning really scary for TSM here. Seraph as well got really strong. He's got a fully completed Randuin's now on top of his Negatron cloak. So he is getting to be that beefy secondary tank after Afromu initiates.
It's kind of been the story always. You just kind of see Seraph in the beginning, and then he'll disappear, and then he'll come back as a formidable opponent sometime in the game where he still helps CLG.
Interesting choice here by TSM. They wanted to make another trade. This is just an outer turret, though.
Yeah.
The last outer turret for CLG going to go down for an inner turret of TSM. And TSM has to be very careful about recalling. They need to get back in time to defend an inhibitor turret. They can't afford to trade one outer for 2 turrets, one of them being inhibitor.
CLG is just playing this fantastically with the amount of strength they have. Afromoon knowing the limitations and how far you can really go with that champion of Alistar.
Oh!
There is the command shockwave to lock it down. A quick Q movement on the ball move. Takes down Glebe, and they are going to get another inhibitor turret. Going on to Team SoloMid. It's amazing. They take him down. And Afromoon helping to be on the front line, giving a double kill out for Link. Double Lift picks himself up one as well. These guys are just going hard. Actually, Double doesn't. He's just on the assist score.
Plenty of shields there for Double Lift 2 as Bjergsen comes in for the burst. This is maybe the fresh face of TSM kind of showing here. Not able to get everybody on the same page and recall quick enough. They weren't able to convey the desperation of that situation. The speed at which CLG were pushing was pretty easy to tell there, and they were not able to get the recalls in time.
Right.
End up losing another inhibitor for it. TSM really on the back foot now.
Well, doing what they can, still remembering they got to light up Baron as much as possible. Everybody to back here, amazing with the possibility of getting this, but I don't even know if CLG is going to give them the chance. They have an inhibitor to fight at and force that one already, while Turtle and Glebe staying safe right now. We'll see what these guys have for CLG on a last push. They still have, like we said, a little bit of front-end ability power damage if they can hit the right people, but they have to hit the right people.
Speaking of front-end ability power, Link is massive right now. He's also got a blue elixir on top of almost 3-item completed mid. So he's going to be giving some very, very high damage shockwaves, courtesy of Afromu. And Bjergsen gets a rest down before the fight even starts.
Perfectly done on the LeBlanc. That's why you'll see a lot of people clap for the LeBlanc. Oh, he gets it. Very nicely done. Link on that one as well with the shield assist, the speed up, and they're going to be going for the inhibitor. Not something they thought would happen. And another time that CLG catches TSM thinking they aren't going to engage.
Yeah, it seems to be the whole team of TSM here kind of out of position, not really respecting the speed of CLG, and they pay for it there. Also not able to take up enough calling.
Wow, Kobe! Wild Turtle gets hit up. That was a passive shot in the Sheen proc. Glebe is going to go down as well as they shut down the Sun. Double kill for Double Lift. 3 are now down. The Nexus turret will fall. A sub 30-minute game for the CLG TSM rivalry as Counterlogic Gaming takes the win at 28 minutes.
Congratulations to CLG. Very strong performance from them.
Great.
And maybe the lack of planning there from TSM kind of showing through. They look a little bit unsure of themselves towards the mid-game.
Not to point it at amazing, but we saw a lot more during his European gameplay time. More initiations, more of this, more of that, being the one to set things up for the team. It seems like he's almost kind of been taken control of by other junglers here. Not all of them. He got hold of Dexter early game, but it's been quite ordinary for the results he used to produce. You see the team quite happy with themselves and the victory. A great way to start off the second week of the split. TSM looking like there are a few troublesome issues there. Definitely something they can look at for this game. One of the harder matchups they have this week.
Yeah, a bit of a slow